First of all, this case has generated a lot of interest from the beginning. It was a missing child, darling child, big mystery. Where is she? People were looking for her all over the country, not just all over Orlando. So do you think this issue would have come up no matter what, no matter how often it's been in the local media and how often it's been national media? Because other cases have moved because of pretrial publicity that haven't gotten a percentage of what this case has got.
Well, absolutely. And remember that the attention to this case was brought on by the Anthony family themselves. After a certain period of time, it didn't appear that the media was being that friendly to them, and they actually turned on the media, but they engendered this interest of themselves, and it just kind of snowballed from there. If you'll recall, the state has yet to grant an interview, make a statement, whereas the defense has given interviews locally, given interviews nationally. The Anthonys have gone national to give interviews, and so it is though the defense has engendered a continued interest in this case because they are the ones that keep turning the television wheel on this and the media interest.
And as a matter of fact, today they actually sort of, I don't want to use the word leak because it's not really a leak, but they sort of alerted the media, if you will, ahead of time that we're going to file a motion for a change of venue. Not only were they publicizing, maybe at the time they're filing it, that they're going to file it, they're giving the media a preview of when they're going to file it and go on national television to preview when they're going to file for a change of venue because of all the complaining of all the publicity on national television. Is that ironic?
Well, it's more disingenuous, I believe, than ironic because, again, the defense keeps holding news conferences and keeps hiring PR firms to disseminate information, but yet in the same instance, it's almost like, please don't throw me in the briar patch, and it is though a lot of people say that the only camera that Mr. Baez never liked was the jailhouse camera.
What's your thought about him going, or not him personally, but the team, Linda Kenny Bond, going on national television this morning and complaining about all the publicity in the case?
It's disingenuous. The bottom line is that every time that you go on television to complain about the case, it just re-energizes the interest of the national media. And especially the fact that this is receiving national coverage is the sole responsibility of the defense and the defense team. It has not been the state of Florida or the state attorney's office or the investigators that have gone national on this. It is the defense team themselves, and then they complain about the coverage, but yet they keep engendering this interest by going and giving interviews and complaining about the interest that this is receiving.
Do you think that this is a pretty early to be filing something like this? Do you think the judge is just going to? I mean, some things he files and he says it's an emergency, and it's like 3 months before we hear that there's a hearing. Do you think the judge is just going to sort of let this sit there until it's really time to decide it? I mean, is it one of those things that that's what he would do, or do you think, he'll address it in court the next time they get together for some other reason, or what do you think?
What's going to happen is that the judge is not going to rule on it at this time. We are still months away from a trial, and perhaps even a year away from a trial. And during that period of time, interest, although not likely, but interest may in fact wane, and
unless the defense keeps going on national television.
Yes, unless there's an occasion for the defense to go on national television. But there is this case. The judge will have two avenues to travel. Either one, just before the trial, he could, based upon discussions with the state, his own personal knowledge of what's going on, make a decision that, you know what, we're not even going to attempt to get a jury, we'll go ahead and move the trial. Normally, however, what happens is the judge would say, you know what, we're going to attempt to seat a jury, because even though this has received great coverage locally and national coverage, you would be surprised the number of people that really don't know that much about the case. And so therefore the judge would attempt to get a jury, and then if he could not, say, all right, we're going to move this case. There are two theories of how a case goes to a certain area. One is the official, which is the judge would confer with the chief judge, Judge Perry. They would then confer with the chief judge of the Florida Supreme Court, because the Florida Supreme Court has to authorize the moving of a trial. The unofficial is it'll be moved to where the judge has a vacation home.
And we don't know where that is in this case?
No, I've never discussed with Judge Strickland where his vacation home might be. We can only hope it's Key West.